Rams walked into a Post Malone concert, showering their MVP with a whole bunch of love. It's a nice moment for a young 24-year-old kid.
100%. I think that was at Sprint Center in Kansas City. We were supposed to get an NBA or NHL team when we built that thing 15 years ago. Now we hold concerts there. But it's a cool-looking building. Listen, man, enjoy it. All week long should be a... How long did you celebrate your Super Bowl, Candy?
I celebrated it for the entire calendar year afterwards.
Okay.
And apparently our team did too. That's
a real Super Bowl hangover.
That's why we went from winning the Super Bowl to being 500 and out of the playoffs.
But to be 24 and you now own the city and you're the man at every event, the Super Bowl MVP, I can't even fathom.
You're supposed to walk in like you're Conor McGregor. That's how you're supposed to walk in. He did it the right way.
Yeah, that crowd was crazy. The parade was crazy, but I'm not sure which was more crazy, the chase that they had before the parade
car chase,
or the excitement in the crowd that they had during
car
the
chase was good. And by the way, the Kansas City police in that car chase did a good job. They did people didn't see it, they did a good job. It could have ended disastrously.
Yes, it could have.
Oh, yeah.
It could have absolutely ended disastrously, and it would have, I think, canceled the parade. So shout out to the Kansas City
You know who's not celebrating today? Jimmy Garoppolo. The Niners quarterback did go 13-3 this season, leading San Francisco to the Super Bowl, yet finds himself as the target of some scrutiny, perhaps because he averaged less than 150 yards per game in the playoffs. Hey, whether or not you think he's the long-term answer in the Bay Area, his coach certainly does. Take a listen.
I think Jimmy's one of the main reasons we got to the Super Bowl. I think he overcame a lot. This was his first year in his career going through an entire NFL season. I mean, he still doesn't have as many starts and stuff as Baker Mayfield. I think he had a hell of a first year, truly playing the position. He was on his way close to Super Bowl MVP. And we all know we didn't make those plays at the end, but we made those plays all year, our whole team. That's one of the reasons we were there. And whenever you don't make those plays at the end in a game like that, first and foremost, the quarterback's going to get attacked, and then usually the play caller. So we understand that's how it goes.
Nick, you think Jimmy Garoppolo has another Super Bowl run in him next season?
Sure, just like they did this year. I mean, I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to get much worse next year. I don't think he's going to be an inferior player to what he was this year. I don't think he's going to take the leap a lot of people expect young quarterbacks to take, because he ain't young. He's inexperienced. He's 28 years old. Like, the idea that he didn't learn the beginning football knowledge he's going to learn from those years under Brady, the years in that system, the years in San Francisco. I don't put him in the same bucket that I put first or second or third year quarterbacks who haven't been in an NFL system, for as long as he has been. But the exact same way they made the Super Bowl this year. Quarterback, be a caretaker. Kyle Shanahan draw up some brilliant offensive plays and scheme guys wide open. And Jimmy try not to screw it up. Like, I think he is in a perfect position given his skill set. But I don't think all of a sudden, if they make the Super Bowl again, it's going to be because Jimmy Garoppolo is fantastic, because he takes some major leap. He can clean a few things up. But I think at 28 years old, you usually are basically who you're going to be.
That's true. That's true if he played.
Yeah,
I mean, this is his first full season starting, only 26 games under his belt. But I want to give you some stats. And these are quarterbacks that we all know, Tom Brady and Big Ben, in their first playoffs as starters. Jimmy G was 2-1. We obviously know that. Tom Brady, 3-0. Big Ben, 1-1 in his first playoff starting. Yards per pass, 7.4 for Jimmy G, 5.9 for Tom Brady, 7.5 for Big Ben. And then when you look at the completion percentage, Jimmy G has better completion percentage than both of those guys. And so I think that he has the ability to get better. If he just doesn't throw the ball to the other team, they certainly have an opportunity to, well, yeah, that is a big if, but I think experience allows you to not see those same things and say, okay, I'm not going to make that same type of mistake. You made a great point. If you have the same defense, if you have a great running game, and if you believe in Kyle Shanahan being this young, innovative head coach, then Jimmy G should be a better quarterback next year than he was this year. And with all those things put together, I think they certainly can make a Super Bowl run.
Yeah, you bring up some great points, B. You're talking about quarterbacks in the postseason with relatively no experience or very little experience going into those situations. They're more passengers than they are difference makers. But Jimmy Garoppolo is not Pat Mahomes. We know he doesn't have that type of ceiling. But Jimmy Garoppolo is an ascending player, even though he's been in the league 6 years. He's only got 29 starts. So we'd be foolish to think that there isn't an opportunity for him to improve because his overall knowledge is going to take a jump because he's got actual experience on the field being able to operate the offense. It's different when you're the guy under center versus being the guy on the sideline with the clipboard. So he is going to improve. We don't know how dramatic that improvement is going to be. But when you look at the situation that the 49ers are in, I mean, they're coming off of a 12-loss season, and they make a run to the Super Bowl. I mean, there's been only one team in the Super Bowl era that's ever done that, and that was the greatest show on turf, the '99 Rams. And guess what? They made a Super Bowl appearance a couple of years later after that. So, I mean, there's opportunity that the 49ers have. And when you look at what the 49ers used in order to acquire Jimmy Garoppolo, they gave up a second-round pick, and they guaranteed him $74 million on a contract extension, and he's at a relatively reasonable price over the course of the next 3 years. I think it's cap hits of $26 million, $27 million, and $27 million. So as far as the economics of the position go, that's a good deal. And I think it's one that will allow John Lynch to put the requisite talent around him in order to compete at the highest levels.
What don't you trust about Jimmy Garoppolo, Nick? There's something about him that you're not ready to run.
And he doesn't have a great arm.
But isn't that something? Is that something you can? If he could clean that up, how would you feel about Jimmy G?
Yeah, I mean, if I were Canty's size, I probably would have played sports at a higher level. I mean, I don't think right, and I don't think he's going to.
Okay.
Listen. His first year in San Francisco, he played 5 games. He threw 5 picks. His second year in San Francisco, he played 3 games. He threw 3 picks. This year in San Francisco, he played 19 games. He threw 16 picks. I mean, the guy turns the ball over and is not asked to make very difficult throws. He is asked to play action pass, look, someone's usually running wide open, stick it. And he's still it was interesting, Shanahan brought up Baker. Only Baker had a pick in more games this year than Jimmy Garoppolo did. He had interceptions the same number of games as Jameis Winston did. No, he didn't have the 5 interception games like Jameis would. Yeah. And I'm not saying he's that level of turnover machine. But by the way, he also didn't have Jameis's arm. He doesn't have Jameis's ability to make all the throws. I feel like people are lying, not lying, but tricking themselves about what he is. Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 years. His first year starting struggled. By his second year as a starter, his 5th year in the league, he was Aaron bleeping Rodgers. It wasn't some, give him 40 starts to figure out who he is. I don't think he's going to all of a sudden be some top-flight NFL quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Jimmy Garoppolo is not in the same situation as a quarterback going in his 2nd or 3rd year. He's not on that street, but he's around the corner because even though he's in year 6, he still only has 29 starts. So, I mean, listen, as you continue to play this game, your knowledge base continues to grow. I mean, that doesn't stop. Now, your athletic ability may diminish a little bit. That usually goes away on the latter part of your prime and toward the end of your career. But you never stop learning football. This is something that's always happening. You're always evolving in terms of your understanding of the game. And Jimmy Garoppolo has that opportunity. And let's not forget this. His team had a 10-point lead in the 4th quarter of the Super Bowl. So this guy was good enough to put you in that situation. So you're going to have a chance to compete at a high level if they're able to make the numbers work and keep most of the core players intact under the salary cap. So I look at this situation as Jimmy Garoppolo, because of what they already have invested in him and the return on that investment that they've already seen, he's going to be their guy for the foreseeable future. It makes all the sense in the world.
He was good enough to win the Super Bowl for 3 quarters. He just wasn't able to do that 4th quarter, which is the big mistake and the big if. Here's the other part, and this is what I would be wondering if I'm Kyle Shanahan. If somehow defenses find a way to slow down our run offense, and if our defense isn't the best pass defense in the league, and maybe this year, can Jimmy G carry us? That's the biggest question.
And the answer is no. The answer to that is no. Listen, we can say he gets better with experience. In his 3 most recent football games, the game against the Vikings, they're controlling the game, and he just hands the ball to Eric Kendricks. A mind-boggling throw, except he's done it throughout his career. Game against the Packers, they don't ask him to throw really at all the whole game. Against the Chiefs, he throws one pick with his eyes closed. Eyes closed, just throw it away. And then how did the 3 drives end that ended their season? 3rd and 5, misses a wide-open George Kittle, instead sails over that of Kendrick Bourne. Next drive, misses a wide-open Emmanuel Sanders to potentially win the Super Bowl. Next drive, throws another pick. So, like, it's not like he's getting better at these things. It's not like, well...
Whoa, hold on. It was only his 3rd playoff game, the Super Bowl you're talking. He's never had playoff experience in the actual game under center before this year.
Fair enough. I'm simply saying, as far as he's had 29 career starts 27, 28, 29, we didn't see a big progression on the... What throw was that, Jimmy? I don't think we're going to see it 30, 31, 32.
All right, we got to take a break. Coming up, are the Lakers in trouble after staying silent?
I do appreciate you, though, Jimmy.
Trade deadline.
The Chiefs was in trouble, man. I do. Much love to you.